welcome to my little restoration resources world. Today I am going to tell you how an abusive marriage absolutely saved me. I know that sounds absolutely bizarre to say, but it is so incredibly true. And I want to give you a little bit of the backstory. I realized that while I've been sharing all of this content with you, I haven't fully shared this story. And so I want to give you context for where all of my content comes from. And I got saved when I was 12 years old. And I spent 5 years in my later 20s truly pursuing Christ. And I just knew that at the right timing, the Lord was going to bring that person across my path. Like, I did not date. I saved myself for marriage. I went to Bible school. I served overseas. And I knew that at the right time, my phone would ring and that it would be the person. So I was coming back from overseas and I had been home for 1 week and my phone rang and I answered it, and I knew that this was the person that God had for me in my life. And I was immediately all in, head over heels, and within 3 months I was married. And I will say that the very first day of my honeymoon, I woke up and it was terrifying. And at some point in the night, I guess my ex-husband, he made some sort of advance. I was sleeping. I didn't know about it. And I opened my eyes to a very, very angry person. And I did not understand exactly what was going on. But I knew that if I had hurt someone's feelings, that I needed to apologize and own my behavior for hurting someone's feelings, and that it would make it better. And long story short, it did not make it better. And it got a whole lot worse. And I ended up within 18 months, I was single. I was 9.5 months pregnant and I was homeless. I had $100 in my pocket, and I knew that 9.5 months pregnant, I had no choice but to walk away. And it seems so bizarre, but I was not angry at all with my ex-husband. I was not focused on him. At first, I have to say, I was a bit angry at God. And it was the first time since I was 12 that I would say that I was like questioning God. And he was totally fine with my questions. He asked me back. I was like, why? I saved myself for you, God, and this is what you brought me. Like, how did this happen? And I immediately just heard a little whisper in my heart that I rescued you from your choices. And I just was floored. And it was very, very clear that I chose this man. I chose this relationship. I chose this marriage. No one was chaining me and walking me and demanding that I marry this person, but these are my choices. And as soon as possible, God was so gracious and he rescued me. And whenever the Lord spoke that to my heart that day, I immediately was like, what is wrong with me? Like, what is going on with me? Like, I was caught up in something that was really, really scary. It got physical some, but emotional. It was really terrifying. And I did not know how to handle it. I did not know how to set boundaries. I did not know what was going on at all. I was very naive. And growing up, like, I'd seen a lot of passive, a lot of manipulation, a lot of passive aggressive. That was more than normal in my childhood home. But I definitely had never seen aggressive before. And I did not handle it well. And with that, I immediately started going, okay, like, if this is what I chose, I need to see deep down, like, where I'm messing this thing up, because I don't want to repeat this. I don't want to repeat this for my son. I don't want to repeat this moving forward. And I did a lot of therapy before I ever left, and then a lot of therapy afterwards, and just really went deep into these things that I did not understand. And at one point in time when I was really big and pregnant, anytime my ex, like, he would flip a switch and get really angry. At first, in the beginning, I was very passive and I would just sit there real quietly and just take it for however long it lasted. And then I was like, at some point in time, I was like, no, like I'm losing my voice. I'm losing myself. Like I need a voice in this. And so I would try and engage, right? Because I was going to fix this thing and it did not go well. Like if I opened my mouth, it made it 10 times worse and it got scary. So when I participated in any conversation, it was not the right move, but I was determined to stand up for myself and have a voice. But that did not go well. So this last third of our time together, man, if there was any flip of a switch, I ran. I knew I couldn't be around it and not participate. And I didn't want to become that person too. Like I had never like had arguments like that. I'd never screamed at another person or raised my voice. And for me to be heard, I had to engage, and then it just spiraled out of control more. So I knew that I needed to immediately set that boundary. I would not be in the same room as long as my ex was in this angry state. Well, it turned into like 2 and 3 days of being like locked in a room, or sometimes hours. I would grab my laptop if I could, run fast enough, big and pregnant, and I would go into the little, the little water closet they call them, but where just the toilet is, and I would sit there and I would turn on my music really, really loud, and I would like worship God and just turn it on and sit there for hours praying and waiting for this thing to pass. And it was like during this time that I remember Googling something, and it was talking about like emotional abuse. And I was like, abuse? Like, what is this? Like, and so during my hours being locked behind doors, big and pregnant, I was starting to uncover like that this was something that was dramatically going on in a really, really abusive way. And yeah, so I ended up, it got worse and worse and worse until I just walked out the door with absolutely nothing, took nothing from the home, and I lived in a hotel for several months while God like slowly put my life back together. And over the course of the next 5 years, I was single again. I needed to navigate myself before anything. And the Lord slowly started to show me all of these different things about how I had participated in unhealthy ways in relationships, and how I was passive, and what this looked like, and how unhealthy that was, and what that was doing to me. And really, that I obviously was struggling with some major lack of self-worth and lack of self-esteem. And I did not know what a boundary was at all, let alone how to set it. So he unpacked all of these things, and then he slowly put me back together and really taught me how to love myself. Because if you don't have that respect for yourself and you don't love yourself well and take care of yourself well, then obviously you're not going to have anything to give to anyone else. I wasn't going to have anything to give to my son or to pour out into the world around me. So I went on this massive healing journey, and it's just been amazing. And now this is what I am so passionate about, and I teach about, and I write Christian curriculum for. And so all of my social media is really about, part of it is this journey, and then recognizing like where that came from, because there was something going on with me like way before I ever got married. And so it was something that I had to go back to my roots to navigate. And so it's just been a journey for over 12, since I was 12 years old, of really understanding who I am in Christ, and what does it take to be whole and healed, and what are the weapons I have to fight with to really overcome these challenges, and how to do that in a way where I am learning to grow in love of other people. Because before my ex-husband, like I was terrified of people and I married someone that was terrifying. And how do I get to be confident and strong and love people well from a place of being rooted in who I am in Christ? And so this is just, it's my passion now. I write about it, I blog about it, I create content for it, and I just want to share it with the world to let other people know that you too can be healed. Like you too, if you're brokenhearted, you can be confident and you can overcome. And if you're in a prison right now in any way, like you get to be free. Like that's what Christ paid for. So that's part of my story. That's part of my message. That is what I do. And I hope that as we move forward, that I can share more with you and help you in any way, if you're in any of these places, to overcome and be who all you were created to be in Christ.